How's it going, everyone? Anthony Corns here, bringing you another video. Today we're talking about a program called Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live is a dynamic live streaming program, and specifically we're going to be talking about how to create your own image overlays. Let's get right to it. All right, guys, so what you are looking at right now is a live demo mode of the program Ecamm Live. So if you look over here in this area, we have what you call scenes. So what we can do is we create different scenes for the various overlays that we create. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to make this particular overlay right here. And so I made this overlay for some friends of mine who are in the church field, just so they can go in and kind of change some things around if they want to. And as you can see over here, you got your title here, you got your church logo, you have your comments area, you have your social channels, and then you have your website in the bottom corner. So we're going to recreate this template inside of Photoshop, and let's go over there and I'll show you guys exactly what you need to do. You can also do this in another photo tool like Canva or something like that, but for the sake of this video, we're going to use Photoshop. So let's get over there. All right, so we're now looking in Adobe Photoshop, and so in order to get this started, we need to first create a new project. So when we create a new project, bring up this window here, and what we want to do is we want to select film and video, because we're doing this over film sizes, and we want to do the 1920 by 1080 pixel size, because that's the size and resolution of a full HD video sequence. So we'll let that open. And we have these guides here, which I normally don't use, so I'll just pull these guides out of the way. Just like that. And these guides, I believe they're your safe margin areas for your text so that everything is on the screen. But for the sake of this video, we don't need those. And so the first thing that I started off with was find me a nice background that I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that background in. Okay, so I have the background image that I want to use, and I got these images from Adobe Stock, but you can find any background image that you like to do, that you would like to use from any stock image place where you can find any royalty-free stock images. All right, so I want to align this so it's completely filling out the frame. And then we want to make sure that it's centered. So as you can see, we have the pink line down the middle and the pink line across. That means this image is dead center. So you can let that go, double click, and that will set that in that place. And what we can do is go over here and select that layer, and we can lock it so it does not move. So that's set right there. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to do was create a little title area like we did inside the scene. And to do that, we want to go over to this button right here, and I'm going to right click because right now it's on a different option, but I want to select the rectangle tool. So when I select the rectangle tool, I should be able to drag this across and create the shape that I want. But right now it's set to black, and I want to switch this right here, and I will set it over to white. And if you don't want it white, you can just click this box here and you can select it to whatever color that you want by just clicking anywhere inside of here, or dragging this to adjust the colors. Or if you have a specific color code, like for example, if you want to use a specific color to your brand, then you can just enter those numbers here. Or if there are RGB colors, you can enter the specific color numbers for the RGB colors there. But for now, I just want to use white. So I'm just going to drag that across like this. Give myself enough area to type in some text. All right, so that looks good enough. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I don't want to leave this like a solid block. I want to add something to just make it, you know, a little different. I want it to just be a rectangle just sitting there. So what I did was I made it where it kind of fades off at the end. So to do that, we want to select our obstacle marquee tool. So we'll select that, and then we want to do is we want to slide this feather option up. So I slide it up to about 25-30-ish range. Get it up there a little bit. Okay, so we're about 28. So what that does is, before we do that, let's go back over here to our rectangle layer here. So let's right click on that, and let's rationalize this layer. And so what that does is it takes it from a smart object and it's just a flat block that you can make any changes to. But if you didn't do that, then what we're about to do now with this tool won't work. So we're gonna slide this over here like this, and then bring it about right here. Make sure that rectangle layer is selected, and then we're just gonna delete. So as you can see, it faded that block out. So now it's not just a flat rectangular white block that's just sitting on top of your image. It actually it fades into your image, gives it a more artistic look. It's not so just bland. All right, so if you wanted to, you can also adjust the size a little bit. If you hold down shift on, if you're using a Mac, you should be able to bring this down and adjust it without the whole thing adjusting proportionally. All right, so that looks good. So I'm going to hide that layer for now because that is done. The next thing I want to do is create the frame that's going to go around our video. So I did that, and there may be another simpler, easier method to do this. Matter of fact, an easier method than what I'm about to show you would be to download a frame from Google that's already a PNG, and you just put that around your video. But I'm going to show you how I did it. So what I did was I took the same rectangle tool that we used to make that rectangle, and I went and dragged it the same size of this video or this project. So we brought it like this. And the reason why I did this is because this scene is completely rectangular, and it's the same size as the video that we're going to be using. And so instead of doing a fill, I want to uncheck that, and I want to make it transparent. So you see that changed, but then we want to make the stroke, we want to give that a white color. And then as you can see, it has the white borders around there. And got an extra one, so let's delete that. And so now I can bring this down a little bit, and I can bring it to the center. That's dead center like here. And then you can either bring it dead middle, or you can bring it down a little bit if you want to, because we're gonna have some other elements above there. So you want to bring it down, but you don't want to bring it down too far, because you do need some area for your text and for your comments and things like that. So right around there should be good. All right, so have a nice frame there. And if you wanted to, we can go here and we can add some effects to it if you wanted to. I believe I did like a drop shadow or something like that, an outer glow. I think I did an outer glow if I'm not mistaken. Or we can just leave it completely flat. It's up to you. But I'm gonna give it like a slight drop shadow. I'm gonna bring my distance in just a little bit, and I'm just gonna select OK. And then we're going to uncheck that one, so that disappears. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the drop shadow down here that will make our comments and our social media logos and other things stand out a lot better. So what you want to do is you want to go over here to this button here. This button is to create a new layer. All right, so we have a new layer here. So anything that we do right now goes on top of this new layer. And what that allows us to do is just do things on top of this image without actually affecting the image. So for example, if we decided to go here and brush stroke some white across this image, make my brush a little bit bigger. So if I wanted to brush stroke some white across this image, and let's say I uncheck this layer, bam, my image is not affected, only the new layer is. So that's why it's a good thing to work in new layers. So what we're going to do with this new layer, we're going to make it a gradient. So we're going to go here, we want to switch our color from white and we want to switch that to black. And so if you select this gradient tool here, make sure that our new layer is selected and on, or we actually gotta undo the changes that we did. Okay. So if I hold down the shift key and I click right here and I drag upward, you see that it gives me a straight line. So if I put it at an angle, it goes straight this way. If I go this way, it's still straight. If I bring my mouse this way, it's straight. But if I didn't hold down the shift key, this is what it does. So I like to keep my shift held down so it gives me a straight effect. So I want to bring it up just a little bit. All right, so that looks good. And then we want to decrease the opacity just a little bit over here in this area. And let's bring that opacity down just a little bit. We want it to be a little dark, but not too dark what it messes up our image. So about, let's say 29, somewhere in there, I'd say would be good. All right, that looks good. I think that's all the elements that we need in order to design our scene inside of Photoshop. All right, so how do we put everything together? Okay, so we want to uncheck this, we want to uncheck that, and then we also want to uncheck our background, because what we're doing is we're saving everything that we created in Photoshop as PNGs, but we're making sure that we save them in the size of the 1920 by 1080 frame, so that when we bring them in, it just snaps in place and we don't have to keep shifting everything inside of Ecamm. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I have this in place, that's our frame. So if I save this PNG, my frame is going to stay right there in place. The same thing goes for my gradient. My mouse is acting up. My gradient is going to stay right there in place. And the same thing for our rectangular bar that we made. It's going to specifically stay right there in place, and we will not have to make any adjustments to it inside of Ecamm. You wanted to, you could if you wanted to, but to make things easier, I did it this way. So the first thing I want to do is I want to export my rectangle thing right here, and I want to save that. Click export and save it as a PNG. Right, and that opens, and we can save it to wherever you want to save it to, and you can save it to whatever name you want it to. You can save it as white rectangle or whatnot. It's just up to you. So you save that. I have one already saved, so I'm not going to do it. And then the same thing for our frame here. We want to make sure that we turn that layer back on visible, and go up to file, export as a quick PNG, and the same thing, save this as a particular name that you want and save it as a PNG, and then uncheck that layer, and then go back to our gradient layer, and then same thing, go into file, save that as a PNG. So each layer needs to be saved, or each item needs to be saved as a PNG, and make sure you turn off the other items before you do your saving. You only want one item at a time on the layer when you save it. All right, so now that's done, we're going to go back over to Ecamm, and I'm going to show you how we piece everything together in the scene. All right, everybody, so we are now back in Ecamm live in the live demo, and I'm showing you how we're going to put everything together. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to go over here and create a new scene. So let's click the new scene button, and we get this right here. And what we want to do is want to go over to source, and we want to make this blank. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to bring over each of our layers. And if I didn't mention this, we wanted to make sure that we brought in the background also as a layer in a PNG as well. We want to go in here and we want to find our church image. All right, so now our background is in there, and then we just want to start bringing all the other pieces in. So the first thing we're going to bring in is our logo. And I found this logo online. It's just a logo template, and we can bring that in and adjust it to the size that we want. And I want to bring this over here, and I want to put that there. Or actually, we don't want this one. We want the black one, because this is a lighter background. We want a darker logo on top of here. So let's go grab our black logo, and let's adjust the size of it, and we'll stick that over in the corner right here, like that. And then we can go find our frame. I have everything in a folder, PNG, and then we can just drag our video frame over, and bam! Remember I was saying that it will snap right in place as the size that we did in Photoshop. And there it is. It has our effect on it and everything there. Okay, and then I can also drag in what I saved as a title area, which was our rectangular thing. And bam, there it is. So these are all the elements that we pretty much designed in Photoshop. Oh, one more thing. We got to drag in our gradient lower black. And then we also want to make sure that we bring this gradient right over our image background, so it's not over any of our frames in our video and things like that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring me in. Okay, and to do that, we're going to do a video layer. So the video layers are right over here, and then I can go in and I can adjust it right inside of this frame. And to do that, I can either do wide, or I can go over here to custom, and I can adjust this exactly how I want it to fit right inside this box. So you can keep playing around with it to get it perfect. If it looks good to you, you can leave it how it is. I like to make sure that everything is nice and snug and fitting properly. And so we want to go back to this button here once we're done and got it in there, and then we want to select the right camera, and bam, now you see me. Now I'm back in the frame, right? Okay, so now that we're in here, we're going to start filling up the other elements. Okay, and so what those big other elements are just our other PNGs and then our text files and things like that. So what I did was went over here to our text, and then I went to just I said the title area, and then we want to make this color white. So we click here on our color tool and bring it over, and then we make that black. And I like to take off the effect off of it. I don't want any shadow on it, and it's right here. So I can bring that up or how I want to. Bam. So now we can put any of our titles right here in this area. And then I did the same thing for the comments area. Went right here, clicked the title, named it comments area. And I took the effect off of it. But this particular one I made white because it's going down at the bottom where we have our dark gradient anyway. Hit OK. You see that popped up on the screen, and then now we want to put that right here, and like everything is centered and snug where it's supposed to be. So that's our comments area. And then we want to do one more text, and we want to do www.mysite.com. And I think I left the effect on this one. I put like a light glow on it because, you know, just something different. And I brought that over, and let's bring this out the way. And I brought that over here just to sit in the corner. And I brought it down just a little bit. And so that's our website for our church or whatever we want, whatever organization we're doing this for. This is the same principle applies to anything. It doesn't have to be specifically for churches, but because this overlay is for churches, that's why I'm using church design. So, but you can, this same principle applies for any organization or business that you are doing. All right, so let's go. And then also I had over here in the right corner, I had some social media icons. And so to make those, I didn't really make the icons. I went to a site called Icon Finder, I believe that's the name of it. And I found some social media icons that were white and that were the same. And I just went and downloaded those. So I'm going to show you what those look like. So we'll just pop those in. So there's our Instagram one. And we want to adjust the size of that. And we'll bring that in here like this. And then we can pop that right here in the corner. And then we want to find our Facebook one. And the same thing, we just want to adjust the size of it. And then here is where you kind of have to eye everything and make sure that it's kind of the same size. So what you can do is kind of put it on top of your other one and kind of gauge how big or how small it is. So there we go. We can put that there right underneath. And then our last one that I used was the YouTube one. And then we can kind of bring that in, lower the size of it. It looks like if you go all the way down, like it looks pretty good. They all are the same size. So let's make sure, yep, they're all the same size, exact same size. Okay, so the last thing would be to bring in the text for each of our social media ones. So the same thing, we go into text layer or overlay, and then all you want to say is just Instagram. Take off the effect and hit add. And we're doing these in white because, like I said, we did add a dark gradient here at the bottom of this area. So everything kind of just stands out. And then there's that. And then another time, go in and we'll just say add Facebook. And keep in mind, I'm building the exact template that I made. So for you, you would put these whatever you want or whatever the name of your social network is. So we can bring that down, kind of make everything look the same. Make sure everything is even and spaced properly. Okay, and one more time, I'm gonna go in, hit text, and then add YouTube. Oh, I had everything lowercase, so let's just do everything lowercase. YouTube. No, I don't want you to autocorrect. Oh, we forgot the @ sign. Add YouTube. Bring it over. Bring it down to the size that would kind of match. And then just make sure that everything is pretty much centered and good to go. So that looks pretty good. So then now that we built our template, you can go in and you can pretty much fill everything how you want it to be. So you may be wondering, yeah, Anthony, can I just do all of this inside of Photoshop and then just bring the complete thing over as the overlay? Yes, you could. But when you do it this way, you save yourself from having to go back into your Photoshop or into your editing software, making those changes and then bringing it back over. I like to make the items that I know I'm probably not going to move as stationary. And then I want to go into Ecamm and then add the layers that I may possibly adjust or change and make sure those are in Ecamm. For example, the text, you definitely want to leave your text in Ecamm because those may constantly change, or maybe you want to use this template for another brand or another company. That's why you want to make sure you build this inside of Ecamm versus building everything inside of your photo platform. All right, so that's how you create your own image overlays inside of Ecamm Live. If you have any more questions about this, just send me a message. Or if you want a template to kind of play around with and just tweak things, send me a message and I'll send you this template to you so you can kind of play around with it, adjust some things and kind of make it your own thing. All right, hope this helps you guys. Like I said, if you have any more questions, shoot me a message and I will see you in the next video. Later.